Ivan Demidov is scorching hot as he scores a goal in his 6th straight game. Another multi-point game puts him at 31 points in 40 games this season. Since being on the first line, he has been one of, if not the most productive forward on SK, if not the whole KHL. It's been unbelievable to see this. He could have even had 2 goals. This one was called an assist as it ricochets in off his teammate, but my goodness, Jesse, there is so much we have to talk about on the Demidov front as he's getting attention league-wide right now, but he's not the only young Habs, future Habs player that we got to talk about. We got to rehash the Jakub Dobes situation as we got some more stats and some quotes to discuss his performance and also a really good update on Jake Evans. You're not going to want to miss any of that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. But guys, I just wanted to ask you, half of you watching this video are not subscribed. This channel has been going crazy recently. You guys have been supporting like crazy. Jakub Dobes, Patrick Laine, all this good stuff. So if you're part of the 50% that hasn't hit the button down below, it's completely free. And we have daily Montreal Canadiens content, all the news, rumors, reports, everything you could ever want. This is your spot to be. Let's talk first about Jake Evans, though, Jesse. And this is an interesting thing. Now, Renaud Lavoie last night on TVA Sport said during the game against Colorado that he spoke with Evans before the game in Chicago. And Evans told him that he wants to be clear. He wants to continue his career in Montreal. Renaud also mentions that the team wants to keep him. And Jesse, I mean, we know that Jake Evans has been absolutely rolling this season. He has 10 goals, 13 assists, on pace for career highs in goals and assists, on pace for over 20 goals. But to hear that he wants to stay in Montreal is something that we haven't heard yet and makes me actually very optimistic for what's coming next for him.
It definitely increases the likelihood of him staying in Montreal, Josh, because prior to actually hearing this bit of news from Evans, I wasn't exactly sure, but that was the whole question this whole time was like, can we find some sort of team-friendly deal? Because really, that's the only way it's going to happen with the amount of demand that there is for him right now because of his great play out on the market right now. So this is absolutely phenomenal to see. I think the question just remains, it's like, what's the term? What are the Montreal Canadiens? Are they going to go the 4 years? Or are they going to have are they just going to be able to kind of do the 3? Like, Josh, are you going, let's say it like it's at 3.5 million. I think that's like the perfect number, 3.5 at 3 years. Are you going 4 years or are you like doing a hard stop at 3?
Oh, man, I don't think I'd be a hard stop at 3. I think it depends, like, I don't know. I think maybe a little bit less for 4 years. But, like, I feel like we've talked about this so much. It's so hard to say because he means so much to this team. Comparable contracts, though, would state that he'd get more than that. But is he worth paying $4 million? If he's at 3.5, I'm cool going 4 years because I think you're never going to regret that. Though, again, like, he's older than we think. Now, his prime is coming later in his career than most other guys. He's picking it up right now. But again, he's shooting a career high in shooting percentage. He's on pace for career high stats in the contract year. It's something we've seen before. I'd rather 3, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But look, we've talked so much about Jake Evans. I know you guys have your thoughts on that down below, so we'll leave that to you guys. But Jesse, we got to get back to the current stuff, the great stuff right now. Though I am excited to hear what happens with Jake Evans next because I love to hear that he wants to stay in Montreal. Team friendly would be great. We got to talk about our boy, Jesse, Jakub Dobes. I mean, first goaltender in Canadiens history to allow just 1 goal through his first 2 career starts. He's rocking the sunglasses, looking like a baller, and that save against Mikko Rantanen, many saves, keeping the Habs in that game. I mean, I just want to continue on the Dobes train, Jesse, and notably what Martin St. Louis had to say, saying it's a big difference between not eating and being hungry, and right now we've got a guy in Dobes who's hungry. Paraphrased, I believe that was a question about Dobes, so, but still, it's very true, Jesse. There is a difference, and right now what we're seeing from him is, like, I know we talked about it last night, but even to hear how people are reacting to it, not just Habs fans, but fans league-wide, is really unbelievable.
Yeah, really going after it is the heart of what Martin St. Louis is saying for that Dobes is hungry out in his young career to kind of prove himself, right? And this is just a couple games, right now it's kind of his track record, but still it's no fluke to play well, 2 preseason games, now 2 games in the NHL. It's not a complete fluke. Obviously, there's skill to make that happen. The question is, can he just kind of build upon it? Obviously, looking so consistent, looking confident, also having a lot of that technique with the size are all things that tend to make you think that he can really continue this out, right? Like, we're hearing a lot of rumbles right now, like, is it going to be Fowler and Dobes? That's really going to be the pairing, for this team kind of going forward. We're seeing, in both played in the NCAA, both putting up some great numbers there, Josh.
Yeah, the NCAA stats are actually really interesting, and I'm glad you pointed that out because we've seen Cayden Primeau's NCAA stats before. They were good. Fowler's on another level here, 2.14, followed by this year a 1.73 GAA in 15 games, hovering around that 930 save percentage. But Dobes was no slouch either, a 2.26 with a 934 save percentage in his rookie college season, his freshman freshman year, 40 games the next year, 2.31 with a 918. Not to mention, we were talking about his second half in Laval last year, Jesse, and his time in Laval this year. I do think maybe it's a bit early to be guaranteeing Dobes and Fowler, but I don't think it's too early to say that based on what we've seen so far strictly, that this could very well be the pairing. And hey, the age gap is interesting too. Fowler just turning 20 in November, Jakub Dobes turning 24 in May. The timeline kind of works, but what I think this really helps us with as well is the fact that if Dobes can stay at this level, look, teams are going to get more film on him. He's going to have some bad games. It's going to happen. Maybe. But as that happens, Habs fans, you gotta stay behind him, right? He's big, he got good movement, he got good technique, but if he can even be a stopgap to give Fowler the time he might need to develop in, say, the AHL or something too, that's a little aspect of this that if Dobes develops well, that could really buy us some extra time that we might need.
And just like Martin St. Louis said, like, about Dobes, it's like, it's kind of a young team right now that's really building on something. And Dobes is in that very similar situation right now where we know that just kind of something special is happening. A couple of things we're not quite seeing, but just those right pieces all kind of coming together at the right time. This is the great thing about getting so many prospects is just as you have some that don't really pan out, we'll look at like the Norlienders and things like that. Just the inverse of that is true as well, where sometimes these prospects that aren't necessarily getting all the spotlight, they just get into the NHL and just show, hey, we're complete professionals. We've been training. We're ready for this, right? So this is just what's absolutely phenomenal right now about, again, casting that wider net that the Montreal Canadiens have. We're getting the skill that they need. But again, that good, solid player development is really starting to bear some solid dividends right now that this Montreal Canadiens team is just so happy to have. Plus, it's just right to have a star goalie in Montreal, right, Josh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't wait to see one of Fowler or Dobes, or even, who knows, if Monty keeps getting better year after year. It's seemingly getting better year after year, more stable. So there's so many good things, not to mention, Jesse, the plethora of draft picks that we have. There's such a bright future in Montreal, especially after this road trip where they get 4 wins, only 1 loss to the one team they should have beaten. But my gosh, unreal stuff right now. And guess what? There's more prospect stuff to come because we got to talk about our boy Ivan Demidov as he scored again today. I'll roll the highlights in just a second. In games under 11 minutes this season, he has 19 games and only 4 points. In games over 11 minutes, he has 27 points in 21 games. His points per 60 as of now is leading the entire KHL by a large margin. And my gosh, is the product on ice just unbelievable. Take a look at all this stuff. Now, this was his official goal. Look at this give and go. What a beautiful play. He just makes space for himself. He is so smart with the puck. And I love that, this is 5-on-5, but I love that he's getting power play time as well to showcase his skills. And this is also a sick pass from Plotnikov, who is having a solid year himself. Great play by Demidov on the give and go. This was not a Demidov goal, even though it looked like it. They said it went off of his teammate. Not sure. Hard to tell if it did from this angle, but they gave Demidov an assist on this. But 10 points in his last 5 games, Jesse. The world is seeing Demigod just taking form right now. People are now saying, yeah, definitely better than Michkov. We'll have to wait and see because Michkov's having a great year in the NHL so far. Demidov will probably need some time to adjust, but you cannot deny the production in these minutes. And the fact that every single game he's putting up points, every single game he's putting up highlights is honestly insane to me.
Yeah, that you just give him any sort of ice time whatsoever, Demidov, and he's gonna get you a highlight reel goal. Sometimes you don't even give him ice time. He's gonna find a way to get it points right now. That's just what he's doing. As we look at this highlight reel once again, that he's just becoming a machine right now. One move, that toe drag, he's off to the races, creating those 2-on-1s, which Martin St. Louis, wink, wink, loves so much, right? But as soon as Demidov makes this pass here, he knows exactly where he's going. He's going right to the net. This is just the way you draw it up when you're playing on the rink with your friends. This is just making that one move, the give and go to the net with your buddy. It just doesn't get any sweeter than that, right? And just the fact of hustling, just being relentlessly attacking the opposition's net, as we're seeing in this game, from the other highlights as well, not being afraid to kind of go to those dirty areas, having the skill, having the hustle. What else can we really say about Demidov right now? But he's just warming the hearts in Montreal, not just for the skill, but those X factors, it's the character, it's the Michkov 2.0, it's Demidov we're talking about here.
He's dealing with adversity right now. As we all know, we can talk at length about the coaching situation, but I think we've done enough of that. We'll let you guys deal with that, but he's dealt with adversity, with how much ice time he's getting, with being benched, with being the 13th forward, and now he's finally getting first line ice time, and guess what? He's producing. Every game he's gotten minutes, he's produced. We got Roman Rottenberg saying he got stronger this year. Now he's in the gym too much. He's the most disciplined guy ever. Every one of his teammates loves him. You can see it in the post-game videos. This guy's incredibly disciplined. He produces. And the thing is, like, again, he's just making grown players in the KHL, one of the best leagues in the world, making them look silly. Just creating space for himself like crazy, just weaving through them like butter. I mean, Jesse, maybe just a final thought here, but like, nothing about his game makes me think he won't work at the NHL level. Not to mention his two-way game, while still not like elite or anything, still has some work to do when he's kind of like hemmed in his own zone, just on this like 5-on-5 static thing, not on the rush. But when even on the rush, like his back check has been good. It makes me think that we've even been talking like he could end up playing center. There's so many signs that he's going to be an impactful player one way or another.
And just for the amount of work that he puts in, like he does a lot of guys that have a lot of the skill. We've seen even Joshua Watt, not to throw shade, but like have been victim of like they have skill, players that end up in the NHL, but like they just kind of coast off that. Not Ivan Demidov. Like this guy's just at another tier, and that's what's really kind of allowed him to separate himself from his peers is just really his work ethic, right? But that kind of combined with his skill, it's like we see he's got the hands to DQ. He's got an amazing one time. He's got an amazing shot. We've seen highlight. He's on a 6-game goal streak right now. Not point streak, 6-game goal streak, just to show you how much of an impact difference maker type of player that this guy is once he gets out on the ice. It's just mathematical at the pro level. Like if he's out there, this guy is just producing. So as we see, once he gets to Montreal, like he's going to be something exciting right away. The fans are going to love the way that he plays hockey. You combine that with like the creativity of Hudson, the skill of Line as well, who I think we've still yet to see the very best of him in Montreal. Like just as a hockey fan, not even as a Montreal Canadiens fan, like that just excites me, right? But that just is even more reason of why, as Montreal Canadiens, we should really get buckled in for what's going to be a really wild and exciting ride for this team.
I can't wait. Like, I can't. Like, it's crazy. This team is so fun to watch already. And, like, now I know Montreal is going to be in every game they play. It feels like it right now after beating the last 5 Stanley Cup champions, all 4 of those teams within a week. And now having... You could argue, I would argue, the best prospect outside of North America right now in Ivan Demidov, and you still have a guy like Michael Hage who's tearing up college hockey. You still have the best goaltender in college hockey, Jacob Fowler. You could argue Trey Augustine, I suppose, he's really, really good too. I can't lie. But, like, there's so many good things, and I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about Demidov? What do you think about the whole prospect situation? It feels like it's an endless list of guys. We keep talking about guys like Kaiden, like Beck, and even Engstrom. Guys who all seem to, like, they have that upside, right? It feels... like a very different time than ever before to be a Habs fan, especially with the prospects we got. But let us know your thoughts down below, because that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Oh my gosh, we got stuff every single day, and there's definitely no shortage right now with a team this fun. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.